It was the sudden appearance of a warp storm at the Kaurava system's outer edge that first caught the attention of the Imperium, and not just the Imperium. After hundreds of years under the neglectful watch of the Imperial Guard, nearly every force in the galaxy would descend upon the planets of Kaurava, bent only on domination and victory. 3 races had long dwelled in there: the Imperial Guard, its supposed rulers, the Orc tribes of Kaurava II, which the Guard had never successfully put down, and the Necron, who had slept undisturbed for untold millennia beneath Kaurava III. Where the Chaos Marines came from, or how, none can say. Did the warp storm bring them, or did they bring the warp storm? Both appeared suddenly on Kaurava IV, and in an eye blink, half the system's Imperial forces were gone, killed or claimed by the madness of chaos. The transformation of the planet from one of fine Imperial cities and pasture lands into the thick wilds of chaos was almost as fast and as brutal. In quick succession, the others flocked to Kaurava. The Space Marines, the Imperium's super soldiers, descended on Kaurava II, planning to finally cleanse the system both of the troublesome Orcs and the Chaos Marines, their sworn mortal enemies. The Tau appeared next, not far above, on one of the planet's moons. In the interests of protecting its ordered empire from the effects of human folly, the Tau came seeking to contain the warp storm, and in so doing, expand their territory's border. On their moon, they built a mighty fortress, and there forged a space cannon capable of interplanetary devastation. Among the wastes of Kaurava III, the Necrons, perhaps awakened by the disruptive forces of the warp storm, slowly massed their lethal legions. In quick response, webway gates, long unused, flickered to life, and Eldar poured forth, ready to battle their dark, death-dealing adversaries. Meanwhile, in the shadow of an ancient portal gate, the Dark Eldar slipped stealthily out of the murky depths of the webway. There, on the moon of Kaurava IV, these twisted pillagers and torturers, cruel cousins to the Eldar, built their nest. They would be like carrion birds, flying above the battlefield, and when all were weary from the fight, make the battlefield into a feasting ground. Last to arrive, and perhaps most to be feared, were the Sisters of Battle, holy maidens and bearers of the God Emperor's faith. They had come to cleanse the system of corruption and filth. Their faith left them fanatical, unafraid of death and zealous in their cause. Nothing here was clean. All must be purged. War rages anew, and only the victorious may write their history. Only the victorious will claim the planets of Kaurava. It was no surprise that only the likes of the Blood Ravens should prevail in a battle so hard-fought and entrenched as the Kaurava conflict had proved. Under the capable guidance of Force Commander Indrick Boreale, the Ravens' 9th Company had acquitted themselves faultlessly. It was unfortunate that, in following their orders, they had been compelled to neutralize the army of the Sisters of Battle. But such was war. Meanwhile, fresh Imperial Guard troops were brought to the Kaurava system to constitute a new and better regulated planetary defense force. General Vance Stubbs' ability to organize and reform this long-neglected army did not go unnoticed by the Segmentum top brass. His career could not fail to rise, in time, beyond the role of Governor-General to a small star system. For the time being, however, Stubbs busied himself and his proud regiment in post-war reconstruction. In time, the system became a proud Imperial hub, and famed Guard academies turned out superior infantry, second only to Cassar itself. Kaurava became home to proud human populations, warlike and devoted to the Emperor. In these times, it would be hard to imagine that a bloody war had been fought, or that heresy and chaos had ever been there. Without doubt, the finest hour the Blood Ravens had known was the triumph over the vile forces of chaos. A Space Marine can aspire to no greater honor than fighting and defeating those treacherous blasphemers. Within days of the Blood Ravens' victory, the Warp Storm had vanished as mysteriously as it had come. After the war was won, a new fortress monastery was founded in the lands of Solitude. That territory was given a new name, Borealum.